Hello everybody, my name is Ratnos, and welcome to This Week in Mythic Plus. This week's affixes are Tyrannical, Sanguine, Storming, and of course, Encrypted. It is not the... So, just a quick look at the calendar here. We're on Tyrannical, Sanguine, Storming. Then next week, we get to Raging Explosive Fort. The week after that is Bursting Volcanic Tyrannical. Now, this is one of the best Tyrannical weeks on the calendar. The week after that, Spiteful Necrotic Fortified. Bleh. And then the week after that, we're not actually going to see Inspiring Quaking Tyrannical. That's going to be the reset of Tuesday, August the 2nd, which is when Season 4 begins. So, that means this week is one of the last Tyrannical weeks if you're looking for Tyrannical score. But it's nowhere near as good as the week that begins on Tuesday, July 19th. So if you're looking for Tyrannical score and you're going to play that week, you don't really need to do anything this week, but could be good to get some practice. Could be good to get some just Tyrannical boss practice. If, on the other hand, you're not going to be able to play that week or something, then this week is your last chance, right, for Tyrannical score if you're looking for Cryptic Hero, if you're looking for anything of the sort. Or just, season score, anything like that, Keystone Master, the mount, those kind of things. You will need some Tyrannical score, so either now or in 2 weeks. And again, in 2 weeks is better to do that. You've got Bursting Volcanic, much more favorable affixes. Affixes this week, Sanguine Storming. A lot of pressure on your tank. Now, this may sound a little bit like a broken record, because you can say that for maybe half of the affix weeks, that there's a lot of pressure on your tank, but this week certainly is a huge amount of pressure on your tank. Your tank is dealing with the Storming, potentially messing them up in melee, but they also need to move the mobs as they're dying to mitigate Spiteful. So, a lot going on there that you got to look out for. If you are playing a tank that is playing Necrolord, which is most Prot Warriors, some Brewmasters, and a few DKs, and you're playing Plague Divisor, which is most of those tanks if they are playing Necrolord and M+, you can actually get a lot of value out of the Flesh or the Plague Divisor CC immunity. If you just channel your Fleshcraft, the Storming won't knock you up while you're doing it, and then for 3 seconds after you finish channeling your Fleshcraft, you can just run over them and remove some tornadoes that way. That can make things a lot easier for your DPS, or it can also make it easier to start kiting for the Sanguine drops at the end. Similarly, if you're playing a DK, Death's Advance, really potent effect against that as well. So those are some of your options if you're a tank towards the end of the pull. Everybody in the group with AoE crowd control effects should be really careful to not stun mobs in Sanguine as they're dying. And everybody in the group with knockback effects should be looking to use them to knock mobs out of Sanguine. And ideally, whenever you're knocking mobs out of Sanguine, I see sometimes, say you're fighting a pack. We'll just draw an MDT because, easier than Microsoft Paint. So say you're fighting a pack, right? You got some enemies here, here, and here, right? And you're the tank, maybe you're a druid, right? You're over here, and you start to run this way, right? And this mob dies, and now you've got Sanguine Puddle here, right? Right, so you got a Sanguine Puddle, and now these mobs are running into the Sanguine Puddle. What you don't usually want to do in this spot is knock the mobs back this way, because then they will just continue running, right? They will continue running back over the Sanguine Puddle towards your tank. Now, your tank can mitigate this by repositioning, right? And they should ideally be moving sideways, right? And make sure that the mob's path now is over the Sanguine. But if you're the person with the knockback, you can just handle this at the start and do your knockback. Like you could knock back this way or this way. Often you don't want to knock straightly onto your tank because your tank may not be ready for a mob to start auto-attacking them. But yeah, basically just don't knock a mob over Sanguine such that they will then walk back into it if you can avoid it. It's better than nothing, though, and your tank will have an opportunity to correct the situation even if you do that. So it is better than nothing if the other option is just to let it bathe in Sanguine. Of course, the other thing about Sanguine Week, Spires of Ascension dungeon that's currently selected is a great example of this. There are some mobs that are CC immune and like to cast. Forsworn Goliaths really are the best example of this, where they'll just stand and they'll cast Recharge Anima and you can't move them. If that is happening under Sanguine Puddle, very bad, right? They're going to full heal. So ideally, you want to be knocking mobs before they die away from being under the Goliath, or the tank is moving aggressively before the mob dies as well to make sure that there's just no chance that the Goliath is going to get that nightmare Sanguine situation. There are a couple other mobs like this in Shadowlands, but really the Forsworn Goliath is the biggest example of it. There's a couple like Theater of Pain has the Marrogar guy down in this place, right? Like the Bone Reaver. You could see something similar happening there sometimes, but it really, the Goliaths are the best example of that. Anyways, those are some tips. Always good to just remind yourself it's sanguine before going into keys this week. And if you do that, often you will not int your first key, which you otherwise, at least I otherwise often do if I don't really try and center myself and make sure I know what the affixes are going to be. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it helped. Good luck in your keys this week. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.